All right. All right. So any question, let me know in the chat. So for the time being, well, I shared the stream. What is going on in the Pokemon market? Well, what happened there? Okay. So here are trusted sources. eBay, not a big fan of. So the main, so this here on coin market for bestsellers been here for months. Okay, maybe not months, but definitely weeks, which is quite interesting. Then Vista Universe, which if you watch my video, I'm a big believer. Just bought a case. So basically, right now, the price of a box is basically what I paid for the case. So the case premium is already erased on the purchase I made, which is really good. And market price barely 70 euros, which if we try to plot V-Star Universe on the bot, should have probably. So if we plot V-Star Universe, which I did, now I'll just go with it. So if, I don't know if it's going to join us, but the question was in the Discord, I don't want to make that visible. Okay. All right, so forgive me. Okay, so that's V-Star Universe, right? Which I hope it's visible. It's large enough. See, too many tabs open. Okay, so what the hell? So that's the supply, which as I showed in the video, going down, blah, 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 blah. So why is supply important? So I do agree you should care about demand. Demand is very important. If there's no demand, no one will buy your boxes, cards, or whatever. No one will buy if there's no demand. It doesn't matter if the supply is like, let's say you have a card that is 1 out of 1. If there's no one willing to buy it, you'll never sell it. So you need demand. Why supply is important? Supply over time, kind of, in a way, is showing demand, right? The fact that these boxes sell, so obviously this is not recorded sales. It's possible these boxes that are gone from the market, they either sold or they've been taken down. Now, if they've been taken down, they might have sold somewhere else, or they may not have sold. We cannot know. However, I think it's safe to say that at least some of these were sold. And, it sells. 200 boxes gone from the market in 2 months, basically. So not only that, it's 200 boxes gone, and then you've had multiple restocks, right? Gone, restock, gone, restock, gone, restock. I think this is a British seller with 200 boxes right here, and then gone again, which we're seeing in price, right? They've been selling at lows. So this right here, this big gap is, I think someone sketchy listed a box well below market price, which is unarguably not common on that. But nevertheless, it's been going down, up, not by much, but it's now selling. It looks like it's going to settle down at the 70 euros. And for the post that I posted on the Discord today, they're now selling for, in Japan, around, wait, where did I share it? They're now selling for about, I think it was 50, of 9,600 yen, which is $60, and that also before taxes, sales tax, VAT, whatever. which is pretty interesting. And Pokemon 151 is selling for 9,700, which is that's also another interesting thing. So if we look for Pokemon 151, so that's what's up with 151. This so far has been the top of the market for supply, and now it's selling. Now, before the reprint, there's some video on my channel. I lost the data. There's some video on my channel, and they were selling for. There were about 200 to 300 boxes. So supply was about 200 to 300, and I think that's interesting because if with 200 to 300, maybe more 300, the price was in the 200. But I don't see that happening again. So let's say at some point in time, if we ever get to 200-300 boxes, I don't know how much will it take because of the how many people are stocking Japanese 151 up. I showed all the posts I came across on the Discord of people stocking up 151, and you see like people. The average Timmy has like a box, a case, and then you've got not whales, but let's say little sharks with a few cases, 5 to 10 cases, and then you have all the rest with never mind. You have all the rest with tenths, if possibly even someone with hundreds of cases. So that's interesting. Also, if we look at market depth for Pokemon 151, see, that's why it's been going down. Same thing happened for Visor Universe. This is no way this is Japanese. There has been some sort of a sketchy guy going around car market lately. I don't know if it's him, but yeah, I would ignore this. But as you can see, this probably we know this is this seller here with the lowest price and the highest supply. Which I don't know if it's playing games, but yeah, most of the supply, as you can see, stands here at below 80s. But then again, the problem is not where supply is now. It's about where supply will be in the future. Those who bought, at these prices, 70s, 60, they'll probably sell, and if we ever get in the hundreds, low 100s, it's possible they'll sell. 2x their money. Why wouldn't you sell at around 2x? And then remember, you have all the people who bought in this range, right? Especially here, before the reprint. So it's gonna be interesting. It's also true that many people are opening the set, but it's just as much true as I try to show. Obviously, we don't know what everyone's storage is looking like, but we know there's many people hoarding on this. You could argue this is the Japanese set people have invested the most ever. I think they will be. It's an interesting claim, which also I cannot back up. But if you think about it, have you ever seen a Japanese set where there were so many people buying and keeping it sealed? I think this could be an all-time. Let's call it an all-time high for this phenomenon. People, especially from the West, stocking up on Japanese product. I think something that could happen. Yeah, trying to check always on my camera if nope. Well, not a good start. That being said, what is happening with Sword and Shield singles alt arts? That's also another interesting topic. If was the Tina? No, it wasn't the Tina, but with if many people, I always see very funny videos on YouTube, which I shouldn't watch because most of the time they get me upset. Many people talking. So the rate queries are going to be hit. Not as the Moonbrew, not as much. Well, 3 months maybe. So 950 to 850 is almost a 10%. Let's call it correction. Move to the downside. 10% is nothing. Also, if you look at it in terms of price, $100, quite a lot. But the other day yesterday, might have been yesterday, a listing on a Facebook group for a PSA 10 Moonbrew for $1,000, 1K even. Pretty interesting. This took a pretty larger hit because this went down 20%, over 20%, 540 to 420. So this went down 20%. It also went up over 100% year over year. From the bottom, and this also, yes, 100% nearly. They both 2x, which is, I don't see how people are surprised. I'm sure many people are not surprised, but obviously, you 2x your money. If you bought here, anywhere here, at this point you're selling. So now, what could happen? And let's see if sales is okay. 800, 720 LP, 800. So there's some sales in the 800s. 700, 750. July. A couple of TCG players. Obviously, you have all the. So obviously, TCG player is going to be the reference point for private sales. 700. Well, it's interesting. There's some copies in the high 800s. This graded. A new min JOT. And then there's some in the in the high 700s. This one is really interesting. I also saw what happened with Evolving Skies box. Those sales at 500. Let's see. Those are pretty interesting. And I'm not too familiar Japanese Evolving Skies, which I was Evolving Skies if it's Japanese. Nobody knows. Okay, so 500 here. That would be interesting. Looks like they went through. 700 people talking about market manipulation. I don't know. 700. Interesting. But what I was saying with the Moonbrew, basically. With all these, especially these more expensive ones, because it is important to think percentage-wise. However, due to a psychological factor, once you get to larger sums, you also, being human, you also think absolute values. So if it goes from 1,000 to 800, you're gonna be, it's 20%. It's $200. Um, so it will be interesting to see if it triggers fear, right? Because let's say you did buy here, 600, maybe also on the way up, 650, and some people preach buy on the way up, buy on the strength. Arguable. You can say, I do that. You do what you want. Saying, I would suggest to do that. Sooner or later, you're going to get in trouble. But nevertheless, let's talk it through. Let's say you buy, when you buy on the way up, right? And you see it coming down. Now, if you're a true collector at heart, which if you are, you might argue you bought the Moonbrion when it was cheap, 250, 300, 400, 500. You didn't buy it now, but it's possible, right? There could be some people, or as I call them, collector at heart, who bought the Moonbrion at these prices, but they just want it in their collection, so they don't care about if price goes up, price goes down. But if you bought it for the money, which potentially a few people did, it will be interesting to see if it triggers fear. Because if you see it going down, then you might, okay, I bought it 650. It's now, I can sell it for 800. I'll take that 20-ish, 25, 30% gain, and that's it. I'll take that gain. I'm happy before it's too late. So obviously, by doing that, let's say you sell it at 100, then it becomes what it's called a seller's market. A buyer's market. Why? Because people race to the bottom because of fear, not of missing out, but of missing profits. Right? Fear of missing out creates a seller's market. Fear of missing profits creates a buyer's market. That actually ended up pretty well, right? If fear, FOMO, will create an effect for which you want to buy something because you think you may miss out on an opportunity. The fact that you are sitting on unrealized profits, unrealized gain, and you see the price of that, let's say, card, or it can be whatever, it can be anything that is traded, you will, if you're just acting on, if you're human, you behave like a human, then you will experience fear. And that fear of potentially missing your profits, which you already missed because it's going down, going against what you predicted, may induce you to a forced sell. If you sell, then it's, as I talked about it's a chain effect. Other people will sell, and it creates a buyer's market, which is what's happening with. It will be interesting if it's gonna be what's if it's gonna actually happen, if it's gonna play out. But it'll be interesting to see what is going to happen. I mean, you could argue it's what's happened with Japanese, right? When it was in the hype, people started to see it going down. People were selling, people sold, kept on going down because, reprints, blah, blah, blah. Reprints made, you could argue, the larger reprints made investors, flippers, may lose interest in Japanese product, which also trigger, less demand in the market. But less demand, obviously, price will cool. It'll cool off, and we've seen what's happened. It'll go down until it'll find a bottom. Right? Think about Shiny Treasure, right? Shiny Treasure is a great example. I remember when it was selling here for about 80 euros. This is about the same in the US, 70 maybe $70. It's always a bit cheaper there because of sales tax being cheaper. And now it's below 30. You can get it from Japan for what, $25, 22, 23 euros. It's really cheap. Why? Return to Oblivion, people just, it was all the hype. Everyone was calling Japanese. I went, back in when Shiny Treasure first came out, I was going to a couple of, just playing at a local store, playing at TCG, and there were, plenty of kids. Kids were opening Japanese. I think that's when it's the market is, it came to everyone. Everyone was doing it. They were just opening it for fun, right? But if you think back in the days, how, like, I don't know about you, but we never had Japanese car really around. Don't have any memories of Japanese car. I'm talking about 10 years ago, 12. So I think that's also an indicator how popular it's becoming. So yeah, that was so obviously now you could argue winner buys market, which doesn't mean go buy it, because that's risky, dangerous. I don't like risk. Nobody likes risk. Unlike gamble, you could argue gamblers like risk. But yeah, that. Oopsie. Oh yeah, my mistake. Wait. I was Japanese. I mean, there's also the debate of you can't go wrong buying low. Like they say with SV boxes, right? They say you can go wrong by these prices. You can go wrong, with a booster box at $80, $90, euros, whatever. Which has always been my obsession with, claims. So saying you can't go wrong is incorrect. You can't go wrong, obviously. That famous if it all goes to zero, which you could argue the probability of going to zero is pretty low. How can you calculate it? No clue. I also saw an interesting claim of, I don't remember where if it was under someone's live. I don't remember where it was. It was, though, a claim, that talking about how, if what if Pokemon goes to zero, and that person commented with, well, if it goes to zero, probably means Pokemon failed, as a company, and if they're not going to print any more cards, then you could argue the ones they printed will not only not crash, they will also gain value. And interesting logic. I mean, if we think about dead games, dead TCGs, which there's many, that's not really what happened. Now, you could argue Pokemon has been reigning for several years. And it's the thing with Pokemon is that whereas other TCGs were born as, let's say, what it, they were more for the players, right? You could argue Pokemon is one of the most collected TCG out there. Because if we think about the big ones, Yu-Gi-Oh is, yes, there's collectors. I do have some high-end cards, but it's mostly players, especially in the new reaching a point where most people can buy it. What are we talking about? Talking about the Umbreon, Friendly Stranger. See, that's the moment where I wish I could pin comments, but with all the problems I have had, God, yeah, not a good day today. But what was it saying? God, what was it saying? See, that's when what happens when you get old. Yeah, I have no idea what I was saying. Sorry. God. Yeah, pretty embarrassing. No idea what I was saying. Must have been important. Oh no, wait. Oh yeah, Pokemon dies. Well, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh is like mostly people reaching. I mean, getting into Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays. They're players. MTG, Magic, same. There's not as many collectors. Whereas Pokemon, I mean, given the fact Pokemon, relies more on artwork. You can argue the artworks are. I mean, I think it comes also down to personal taste. Pokemon is also the artworks reflect artworks. That younger kids, children, like the most, whereas other TCGs are more for I'm not saying adults, but for older kids. Whereas if you're 5-6 years old, you're gonna like Pokemon because they look friendly. These funny creatures, look at them, they're smiling. Look at Glaceon out there. Umbreon. After all, it's like, you have a dragon, which maybe for the boys, you're gonna like it more if you're 8-9 with Array. But whereas ITTG more for grown up, not grown ups, like older kids. Yes, I think the rocket set is kind of split, especially for a reason. New rocket set. Well, I did talk about the Moonburn earlier on. This man now Overdraw. I basically not only the Moonburn, talking about the what could happen now. Depending on the market we're in. If it's gonna trigger fear, not of missing out, but of missing profits, which would place us in a biased market. Because if you have fear of missing profits, it will keep on going down because people will start selling more aggressively. So that'll depend on a few things. But we'll see. But Winter Rocket stuff. I don't know if it's. So thinking about Team Rocket, I do think it's. So I know the megas have gone up. I saw that, which, because of the, let's call it speculation, even though it seems to be really possible. Which it's speculation because we don't know yet. It looks like it's really possible that they're gonna come back in the TCGs. So older, like the OG megas, gone up. Which basically is the market repricing. Now, the moment, and this is the same applies to Team Rocket. So the moment let's say if people were to go by, well, let's actually looking at Team Rocket before I say something. So Team Rocket, well, let's look at both. Team Rocket. So yeah, you're proving my point, but I'll get there. So yeah, probably EBIT is the best place. Man, first stat. Is that Japanese? Yeah, it's a problem with vintage. I also like Team Rocket's return more, to be honest. So my point was, if you're buying Team Rocket stuff, so it looks like if they haven't moved yet from the from the announcement of the, which is that even official? Because I honestly don't look at these stuff ahead of time. I focus on what we have, not what we'll have, which doesn't mean it's right or wrong. That's not how I do it. Anyways, if let's say you're an early buyer, so there's two things. Either you're really smart, you're buying, because obviously the reason you're buying is just an opportunity. But if they haven't moved yet and you're buying, there's two things. Either you're a genius or it just the market doesn't care, right? Either you're a genius, meaning that people still haven't thought about buying vintage Team Rocket, which, I mean, it doesn't. Think about this. So you're seeing the correlation. So we know nothing about the Team Rocket, new Team Rocket set. So with your logic, and let me know what you think. With your logic, did that mean that after they printed 151, which obviously, I mean, Team Rocket set, the new Team Rocket set will most likely have newer artworks, right? Just like 151 had. Did that move the market of base set? I don't think so. Base set market just stayed where it was, and 151 did its thing. So if it's the same thought process you're applying to Team Rocket, we don't yet know what Team Rocket is going to look like, right? But you're basically making the same thinking process. You're saying, oh, it's going to come out, and I'm going to buy vintage Team Rocket. So when 151 was released, you could have argued it's gonna come out, I'm gonna buy a base set. Yeah, that's true about XR singles. I actually looked them up the other day. Mainly the big, like Rayquaza went up, Roaring Skies. Not all of them, but I mean, from experience, I think it's so. Not that I'm interested in buying any of them, but I would only buy the big ones. Yeah, I get you. You're all speculating. We're all speculating here. We're real investors. But I get what you're saying. Base at true, but so I mean, so you have evolution. So generation count as a reprint, as a base set reprint. 151. Could also argue of all of them, 151 was the best one in terms of artworks. So if after, you know, you would need to look back and see what happened after, evolution was announced, so on and so forth, and see what that caused the market. But yeah, you're taking a risk. If it's fine with you, it's fine with you. Not what I do, but it could play out. Who knows? But I also think it's going to be interesting how they're going to make Team Rocket. Because think about a Team Rocket set, with artwork at the level of 151. That would be pretty interesting to see, wouldn't it? But yeah, I do prefer Team Rocket Returns. Oh, actually, would you count Team Rocket? No, you can't count that. Wait, can't count Team Rocket Returns as a Team Rocket reprint. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. See. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend I do. I'm not a vintage expert, and I don't want to be. Yeah, classic 25th. Yep, Evo 151 base. Well, does base set to count as a? It's like what celebrations. Okay, well, celebrations. You had a. Yeah, you had a. Yeah, with Generation, you had a mix of everything. True. Well, yeah, it's gonna be Mega Blastoise. Pretty cool. Well, you did kind of. Pretty much it's. Yeah, I think those generation counts. Anyways, yeah, I get what you're saying, guys. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm speaking of modern. I'm not. Well, it's also interesting. What? So you're buying vintage. Are you gonna buy? Which saying right now, are you gonna buy the Team Rocket set? It's like. It's kind of like saying, are you gonna buy a car next year? Like, what car? Are you gonna buy a car? Oh yes, but a car I like, a car I don't like. I don't know, a car. What type of car? I don't know, a car, any car, not any car, a given car, but I'm not telling you which one. Are you gonna buy it? Which is kind of like, yeah, I don't like to start like, yeah. Never mind. I won't comment on that. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, do you think you'll get Team Rocket set? You could. I'm just curious to see what's gonna happen. Shrouded Fable. Obviously, I don't invest. I don't buy specialty sets. Yeah. Full disclaimer, I do have 2 current NFTBs because I bought a few to open live on this channel. I have 2 left, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. Maybe open them at some point on live on the channel. But I did buy the V-Star Universe case, and I explained that I explain why I did it, which is kind of different from buying special English specialty sets. Sorry, Fable pass. I'm saying it now. I will pay attention to the Corselia, which should be in the set, if I'm not mistaken, as it was in Night Wonder. Because obviously, with the all illustration rare plays that I've been making lately, that's on the radar. But other than that, no, I was not gonna buy any seals. Stellar Crown, it's interesting. Small set, like Obsidian. I mean, unarguably better than Obsidian. Just better SIRs, and not too sure about illustration rares, because if you look at Obsidian illustration rares, SVO3, yes. So if you look at Obsidian IRs, they're actually pretty good. The problem with them is that there's not enough to make them Paradox Rift and Pull Evolve rare. Paradox Rift and Pull Evolve illustration rares, they all have the same pull rates for pulling, let's say the same seed. It's just a matter of how many there are, which make it harder to pull a specific one, blah, 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 blah. But if you look at, after all, if you look at Obsidian IRs, you have Ninetales, Cleffa, Pidgey, Gloom, Scizor, Pidgeotto, Houndour, Larvitar, pretty cute, Lechonk, Palafin, Bellball, Vroom. So, apart from these three, Lechonk is like in the middle, from Larvitar onwards, so more than half of them are pretty, they're pretty good. If we judge the artwork, you have the Ninetales, Cleffa, and Gloom, Scizor, top tier, these four. Then you have the PG Evolution line with Pidgeotto. Then there's the SIR. So it's pretty interesting. Yeah, they're not that bad actually. It just, the problem is when you go into the SIRs that it gets wrong one. So when you get into the SIR, why is it still showing? Alright, Zar, Pidgeot, and then just, look at this. This is $2 SIR. Even this, $2. Look at this. Nice colors. Yes, it's, I can't call it Pokemon Rev Room. Which I'm not implying any way, shape, or form buy it. It will go up. I don't know if it will go up. I wouldn't buy it. I would, if you want to collect it, buy it. If you think if you want to get rich, I wouldn't buy it. But yeah, it's not that bad after all. Obsidian. It is what it is. I was more of a vintage guy. I like the new set, but they were printed. Population low print run like these years. Yeah, so with the print run, so overprinted is, again, I'm very obsessed with claims. So overprinted, arguable. They're printed a lot more than the sets, the eras you mentioned were printed, obviously, because demand was different. Are they printed? Are newest sets printed more than vintage? I'm gonna say yes because I don't know for certain, but we both know it's basically a yes. I think when it comes to buying into these sets, the pros of buying, let's say, SV Sword and Shield boxes. Again, I'm talking sealed. The possibility and probability of you having greater returns over the same time spent than if you were to buy a vintage card. Let's say you were to buy a Rayquaza Gold Star. So let's say you were to buy a Gold Star Ray, PSA 9, which selling I think about 8,000 to 9,000. Will that double in price? And then let's say, and then you were to buy 9K worth of Sword and Shield boxes. Which one will double first? So if you care about growth, I think that's something that it may not make that much sense to go into the cards you mentioned. Obviously, if you may incur in high volatility, which I made a video on it, not on this specific topic, like vintage cards against modern steel, which I could do it. Most likely nobody watched it. All these technicals video I made, nobody watched them. Because YouTube hasn't really spammed them. I guess it's too math in the video. People don't want them. But that's an important. Still, I think I still did a pretty good job because nobody did it. They probably wouldn't know how to do it. But that's not the point. The point is, if you're looking for something more stable, historical, you could go into the cards you mentioned. So I think it's a matter of that thing. Do you want growth, or or do you want to go into those older cards which make you feel safer? Which you may know the market better. I don't know if you flip them. They're short-term plays. I don't know, but I think that's something interesting. How do you feel about the waifu cards? How do I feel about the waifu cards? See that I need to pin the comments. I'll try to make it work, but yeah, didn't have a good time with OBS either today. I'm not a fan. I don't buy them. I don't really have a collection. I don't buy them. I don't like them. When I look for flips, I'm not interested in them because I don't like them. I don't know how to treat them. I don't know if a trainer is gonna be popular. If it's a beloved trainer, I have no idea because I don't know them. Hence, I don't buy them for flipping purposes. I don't buy them for collectible purposes because I don't like them. And I most likely never will. Something personal? No, I just let's take this for instance. Is it a nice drawing? Yes, but being a person doesn't. If I want to see a drawing of a person, I'll go look at a painting from the 1500. That's art. This, I'm not interested. If I wanted to look, something this nature, this, let's say, artistic wave, I'll go with an actual Pokemon. That's why I think. Which again, it's personal taste. But at the end of the day, you could argue if this is same rarity, if this is $2 and this is $40, I'm not the only one thinking that way. As simple as that. But yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. Well, I was talking about Stellar Miracle, which yeah, that's when we get to Obsidian. It'll be interesting to see. Um, let's look. Well, it will most likely do better than Obsidian. Oh, are all the Stellar Miracle set list? Stellar Miracle. I am not. Not at all. Well, actually, if you look at, wait, I don't know if it's here on the pack on the box. No, okay. So I read Dragon Ball mangas. Dragon Super. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I watched the anime as a kid. I grew up with Dragon Ball. I used to play during the Kamehameha in my living room when it's like up till middle school. Actually, a big fan of Gohan. But and in the mangas, at the end it says, I don't know if it was at the end or the beginning. It says all character displayed are above 18, which is it's pretty funny they say it. But yeah, I mean, we already know what's gonna do well. Zeraora, Joltik. Reboot has potential. Noctowl, Zeraora, and Joltik gonna be the main ones. Easy to tell because I'm pretty. I mean, as a rule of thumb, if I like them, people will like them because I consider myself an average. My knowledge in Pokemon is not the best. I'm aware. I just know maths, and by knowing maths and some microeconomics, I'm able to make this place. But yeah, Zeraora definitely. I think this will be the most expensive IR in the set. I think alternates are equivalent then. Yeah, again, I think it comes down to personal taste. I explain why I don't like them. I don't think I ever will, but I'm not saying that I think it's all about personal taste. I don't if a set is heavy on trainers, I'm not interested. Like I genuinely hate when like there's SIR slots dedicated to trainers where they could be Pokemon. But just personal taste. But again, you could argue I'm not the only one. Otherwise, trainers would be more expensive than Pokemons, given the same rarity of like great. I think Twilight, I think, is a good example of Carmine. Which, by the way, in Italian, Carmine, which is not said Carmine, is a male name. It's pretty funny. So I mean, and these two, Carmine, Parent, and Kieran, are actually more expensive than all the, apart from the Greninja, more expensive than all the other SIR Pokemon, which does say that someone Cardes. No, I don't think I've heard of it. Have I? No, I don't think I have. But I'm afraid to Google it. But yeah, so like, people like them for some reason. I don't know if they're playable. I mean, I don't really see speaking of Twilight, actually, I don't see the hype around Twilight where you have the good cards of Greninja, the Eevee. I'm talking collectability. Chansey is a pretty good one. So Greninja, Eevee, Chansey, Infernape, Growlithe, Pinsir, pretty decent, 6. And I'm pretty sure that's about it. So, Cameron, I don't like when they're portraying like something that looks too real next to them. So 6. You could argue you have 6 good collectible cards. I actually should make a video on it. The Teal Master Blade. I don't know about these. I mean, for trainers collector, they could be. So is there all Pokemon cards? Let me see Pikachu card is. Is it? Kieran, I have their played. Misty Pikachu. Pikachu card is. Oh. Yeah, not for me. So yeah, I have all the Teal Masks that are played. Blood Moon Shaluna, I think no one really. I mean, it's 5th. I think it's also been going down. This one. Yep. It's been crashing because no one gives us a crap. Nice colors. Does it have Pikachu? It does have Pikachus. So that's probably. So that's interesting, bro. But I also think the hype that created around Twilight is also doing this to singles. But collectability wise, I don't really see value. I see more value as I'm always been a big advocate of temporal. Because again, I'm a bit biased because I don't like trainers. So I can give you that. But if we only look at collectible cards, not playable cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have the 6 SIR Pokemon, and we're already tied with my list to Twilight. Then you have the Ghastly. Now the Mortys and the Airy, yes, they're trainers. I will not count them because they're trainers, but you have a Gengar here, just like you have the Pikachu there, so kind of even. But I will not count them. So you have the 6 SIR Pokemons, Ghastly, Metagross, so 8, Arbok, 9. You have the Sawsbuck and Chinchilla, you could also argue. Collectible. The Dealing with the Sawsbuck. Mancino, because you have Chinchilla, right? Drampa, pretty cool. Not top tier. And then Lickitung and Shiftry. I would stop at Shiftry. Wouldn't go further. So collectability wise, I do see Temporal being much better. So I the hype around Twilight, everyone is praising it. Yeah, don't get it. Cosmic, yeah, that's why. But with Cosmic, because I was interested in Cosmic. Yeah, you have good trainers, expensive trainers. But there are only 2, thank God. And then obviously this is just sick. This one, I think Cosmic is one for. I'm a fan. I was very close to buy a Cosmic Eclipse booster box for a pretty good price, like last month. I ended up getting the Visor Universe case instead. But it's a great set. Thank God you only have 2 trainers. that are expensive. But it's a good set because you also have like all these other stunning artworks carrying around. These two being my favorite. Also like that's not too bad. But I'm biased because towards Reshiram and Zekrom because of black and white. And then the Secret Air also looks pretty cool. Pikachu, pretty cool. But yeah, great set, Cosmic. Can't say no. Can't deny it. Look at this. Even this, just look at it. Pretty sick. I like the Zekrom. Where did they place it? I think it's in Brilliant. Zekrom. Is it in Brilliant Stars? This one's also pretty cool. The promo. But I'm not talking about that one. So one that it's in VMAX Climax. Or is it Zekrom V? Have I missed it? Have I missed it? It's not Zekrom V. Nope. Brilliant Stars. Trainer Gallery is in the Trainer Gallery. I think it is as an ultra rare. This one. This is pretty cool. But I'm ranting here. Wow, yeah, we were talking about trainers. I ended up talking about Zekrom. Pretty cool artwork. I wish. Oh yeah, not many. A few people talked about how it will be about time we get Reshiram Zekrom SIR. So some sort of an alt art, because last time we got it, technically, it was Sun and Moon with Cosmic, if I'm not mistaken. So it will be about time. Wonder if I was thinking about. I like this Galvantron, I'm not gonna lie. I prefer this to the Terapagos. I think it will be. We were talking about the other day how it will be interesting to see the pull rates. If they're gonna keep it like last sets, so Temporal and Twilight kind of difficulty, which obviously been less SIR. It's gonna be like a bit easier to pull than so something in between of Paradox and Paldea, but still pretty like better than Obscene. Or if they're gonna, yeah, what we're gonna do with it basically. I think that's gonna be interesting. That's pretty. This reminds me like looks like a painting. Yeah, Garvangela. It's gonna do well. I think they will be priced below $100, euros, whatever, at release. I don't think it'll be any of them will be above 100, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, it'll depend on pull rates too. That'll play a big factor, but I think there'll be. We'll see, because we're also coming. We need to remember we're coming off of the Greninja fever, where everyone is after the chase card. So is there a real chase card here? Not really. Was there a chase card on Temporal? Not really. But I mean, do we need a chase card? I mean, if you think about Evolving Skies had, so the Rayquaza was more expensive than the Umbreon at first, right? And then it's about the death. I prefer death to having a great chase card. Now, I'm not saying that I prefer death and every card is priced at $5. But death is pretty important, which is why I prefer Temporal over Twilight all day, every day. And that's why, if you think about it, that's why Paldea is getting expensive. That's why people like it. It's a death of the set that is in Paldea. Because yes, the Magikarp, you can argue the chase, but after all, it's $100, right? It's not nothing. It's not an Umbreon. It's not even the Greninja. It's like half of the Greninja price. So it's nothing crazy. I wish I actually never saw one in person. It's a great card, but it's here. It's about the death. If you think about it, once again, think about how many cards would be collectible in this set. Yes. Skyreach Masquerada, they're definitely not playable, but like, yeah, Heracross. Tingaloo, pretty good one. Then the thing with Paldea is you don't have many fan favorites. It's all really cool, but you have a lot of great artworks and pull rates. Paldea pull rates for so when it comes to SV, the toughest pull rates when it comes to illustration rares come from Paldea Evolved and Paradox Rift. So we all know about the Groudon, but those are the ones with the toughest pull rate, which is why where it's at SV06, which is why I don't quite understand Eevee, which is much easier to pull, about 1 in 250 to get a specific IR in Twilight against about 100 in 400 and 400 and something, mid 400 for what's it called? Paldea, just like Paradox, very similar. So I don't get why this is in the 70s. I don't get it. Yes, it's an Eevee, but it's not an Umbreon. It's an Eevee. Anyway, if it was an Umbreon, I don't understand it. Good artwork, yes, but nothing really crazy. I mean, if you think about it, it's now more expensive than the Groudon. The Groudon is harder to pull. It's more expensive than the Groudon. And, if you compare the artworks, which one is better? Let aside that it straight out of the gate, it went from 25 to 65, 70. No hesitation. I wonder if this is Twilight's fever. I wonder if that's what's happening. It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, that's why I don't have any Twilight booster boxes. I don't think I ever will. And I did not try to, but that's also for a different reason. Did not try to flip any. I didn't see any potential to flip based on my rules. Any Twilight cards. I mean, there were. So, artwork wise, Eevee was one of the candidates. But what happens in the U, which I think you should also pay attention if you're in the US, and that's something I do. You should try to look for where supply is. So what happens in the EU usually is you get many, 3 to 4 large sellers having a ton of supply, and constantly, like when they run out, they sometimes use 12, 18 cards. When they run out, they're going to relist them. That's usually what happens in the EU. Now, I do see similar things in the US, like this guy here claims to have 8 near mint. So let's say if you buy here, it's actually 44, it's not bad. It says in English. Now, what I would do is what I do with bot. Look where the next large supply is. But also, it's also applies better in the EU because shipping in the EU is much more expensive than in the US. Like, if we get this shipping in the EU, it'd be paradise. Wild market, I would buy everything out. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so custom grade trainers. Plus buy my last box. Yeah, great trainers, but not a fan of them. So I see the Eevee as a parallel to the Magikarp, light to dark. Gen 1 Pokemon. Good point. But as Robert says, and as I just talked about it, you have the pull rates to consider. I do have a courtesy of Mr. Master Set. I should still have it. Let me pull it out. Okay, so let's do this. Illustration rare, again, courtesy of Mr. Master Set, aka Jack. So with Pull D evolved, that's pull rate, that's with Paradox. So the considering this don't want to go into the math of it, but you could safely argue they're pretty much the same. Whereas with Twilight, as you can see, they're temporal style. And as I talked about in the yesterday in the Discord about 151 pull rates for both IR and SIR. Okay, this, which is why people like to open it, obviously. Then you have all the ultras, let alone their nostalgic cards, nostalgic Pokemon. Then you have the pull rates, which plays a big factor because people. That's also why people like to open it, because you're gonna get good cards. So the fact that the Charizard DX from 151 is steady 100 just means that demand is enormous, because you have a ton of those cards out there, a ton of them. So the fact, if you look at it, it's been steady in the low 100s for ever since it released. It means that demand is just enormous, because the amount of supply you have for that card is tremendous. If you look at these pull rates, I mean, it's second. Wi-Fi 1 is second only to Obsidian, which says it all. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool, but if you were to ask me, I would prefer the Groudon. I would prefer the Magikarp every day, all day, but I prefer the Groudon. But I mean, yeah, gotta consider pull rates at the end of the day, and yeah, I mean, you could argue, and there could be a good argument that it's the Umbreon fever. People saw an Eevee, now people are more informed, more aware of what happened with Umbreon. They are trying to predict the next, not saying the next Umbreon, but they know they're gonna go safe with an Eevee. That's why everyone is buying them. As well as the Magikarp. Not because they're connected in the way that they're both IRs, and people saw what IR can become in terms of price. The Groudon was another example, even though this going up was pretty much same timing with the Groudon. I think they, if I'm not mistaken, they've been going up together. But I have reason to believe, which would have to be confirmed, that should be. Let me know if I'm still alive. Should be. But yeah, I saw load in there for a second. So yeah, let me know. But please. But yeah, I think it's that. It's the fact that it's an EV. So, and then the fact that being an IR, people saw what IRs can give to in terms of price. So it will be sustainable. I have no clue. I mean, back in the days, you could have argued the Magikarp, when it was 70, 80, was overpriced. I mean, it also depends on what you want to do. If you want to buy because you want to make money because you think it'll go higher, then you also need to consider where it comes from. Because if you buy now, can you go back to 25? Yes. Yes, you can. Can go to 0, obviously. Will it go back to 25? Well, it's possible. Well, if you buy now, people start selling. So if you buy now, you're someone's liquidity. Because if you buy, someone needs to sell. Because we don't steal. Don't steal, guys. It's really bad. Don't do that. But you see how here it was flat. So the fact that it was flat probably means that that's where supply and demand were starting to they were in certain sort of a balance. So you may have had here some people selling that got the card release, so we're selling. They got it for 25 and they're still in the 40s. And that's a new wave of demand. Now, that wave of demand may soon stop. If it does, where will it go? Probably back in the 50s. So that's kind of logic as well as what should happen. If it happens, that's something that could play out. But yeah. Twilight. Yeah, I don't understand Twilight's fever. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's gonna play out in the future. What's gonna happen, as always. As well as considering we have 6 sets left. I mean 5 if you don't count Stella Crown. Miracle, sorry, confuse them. It's gonna be interesting to see what sets are gonna come. There's rumors about this Phantomatic Dragon set, which let's see what that is gonna look like. Then the Magus. So it could be time for the Magus to come back maybe on the second half, which we're ready in technically. We enter the second half. It's all a big question mark, I guess. Isn't it? Yeah. Alright. So, that being said, guys, I think it's been an hour and a half. Thank everyone for joining. And for those who will watch this, having fun tomorrow, today, whenever. And my apologies for the camera. I don't know what happened there. Next time it may not happen. But most importantly, there will be guests soon in live streams next. So where we'll talk about the Pokemon market, doing interviews. So that'll be more fun than having to watch me talk. And yeah, that being said, all I can say is thank you. Wish you a great Sunday, guys, and I will see you soon in the next video.